Now, there's a lot of deer hunting fails, you know, all year long. I mean, even creating incorrect habitat features or habitat features that aren't actually matching a cohesive unit of movement around the property. They're just random. But when it comes to deer hunting, there's a lot of failures, and you see some consistency, especially with some of these that we have right here. But each month, there's a different set of moving failures that are more prevalent in one month versus the next. And that's what we try to talk to them, because I want to keep you guys on the straight and narrow. I know December isn't a hot hunting time. Things are starting to wane. You get into Christmas, but boy, I look forward to a late gun season they have in Minnesota. Maybe my kids will be out. We'll be able to hit that. Last year I hunted in through January because I didn't have a bow tag in Wisconsin, and I enjoyed it all the way to the last day. Might go back to Kentucky in early January, still have a bow tag down there, so I'd enjoy doing that. But bottom line, there's a lot of opportunity in December, and I want to make sure that you're taking and getting the most of that opportunity, take advantage of that. And so let's go through some of these fails really quick. And number one, the most missed time in the deer woods, I say this all the time, is the second rut. And whether it's end of November, early December in some of these northern states, or down into Missouri, Iowa, Tennessee, Kentucky, over into North Carolina maybe, you get into the middle of December, 20th of December, you're going to have that second rut, and it's a great time of the year to hunt out. Just, you know, and on a lot of these, people ask questions whitetail related, and I'll always go back and find a video, but you guys can do that. You know, YouTube has a search function. If you want to look up secondary rut hunting tips, secondary rut hunting success, then a lot of my videos will come right up at the top, and it's an easy way to search for my videos and look for more information. And it'll help me answer some comments maybe for someone else that needs a little bit different type of help that might help other people too. But, you know, it's a really good way to look for some of that information. So you can look up some of the secondary rut. I go into detail about how to hunt this. Of course, I cover in depth in my How to Hunt the Whitetail Rut web class. But really important to check this out and not miss the second rut. It's a great time, one of my most favorite times of the hunt, and arguably you could even make a case that it's the best rut for several conditions. So check some of those videos out so you can understand why, but don't miss out. It's a really good opportunity. Number two, not moving. What do I mean by that? I had someone the other day said, you know, I'm not hunting that much. I'm not burning my stands out. I'm trying to hunt good weather, and I've seen less deer this year. Well, if you're doing those things and you're seeing fewer deer, and you're seeing fewer deer on cams, they're not around, you need to move. And so, you know, a lot of these predictions are based on the fact that you're actually hunting deer. Like there's deer around to actually hunt. So you can have a great weather day, you can have a really cool stand, good approach, but if there's no deer, it's all for naught. When it gets into December, a lot of habitat has been overpressured, whether it's bedding areas or food sources. And let's face it, if you have a high quality food source in the late season, you don't even need that great of bedding areas. In fact, if you spook a deer out of the bedding area, but you keep the food source intact, a lot of times deer will just shift over to another way, especially those does, those doe family groups, if you keep that food source unpressured. So a lot of times you fall into that trap of, if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you had. And so if you're not moving and you're not going to find that quality habitat or that unpressured cover or food source, then you have no one to blame but yourself for not finding those deer. And I want you to find deer. So you're looking for high stem count cover, whether that's hardwood regeneration, shrubs, switchgrass, grasses that are still standing at that time of the year. Transitions from swamp to hardwood edges can be great locations, especially for those late season bedding areas and habitat that deer are gravitating to. But very important, you actually find good habitat and of course food sources. So you have to have quality food sources. Mature bucks especially will move miles to find great food source that time of the year. So you can have great cover, you can have a great bedding area, you can practice timber stand improvement on your wood lots, but if you don't have quality food and someone else does a mile or two away, you're not gonna see any deer. It doesn't matter how great your cover is, because they have to have good food. And while there's good food still standing somewhere, they're going to go find it, and they'll go a long ways. So you need to move with them or go find it. If it's on private land, build it. They'll come, they'll stay, you'll get to hunt them. If it's on public land, move and go find it, and you'll be rewarded. Number three, a lot of times people are hunting too many mornings. You know, in the late season, deer on food. Food. So important. So if you're keeping food sources intact and the movements will go to that food, you're going to have a great hunt. However, if you force the issue, go into bedding areas, that relate to that food movement, and you spook out that bedding area in the morning because the deer are already there. Less predictable where they're at in the morning, more predictable in the evening. You know they're going to these food sources. So if you go into those bedding areas, you spook out that deer, you just ruined a higher, potentially, usually a much higher opportunity, with the exception of the second rut. During those rutting activities, some mornings, you can take some morning stands are great. Dylan and I shot a nice one several years ago during the second rut. Dylan filming me hunting. And, you know, that's a great opportunity, but you never want to go sit in a morning stand at the expense of very predictable movement in the evening, because whether it's bucks recovering from the primary rut and trying to put some energy back in their body, whether it's does or miss coming back into heat, or fawns coming into heat during that second rut, there's a lot of opportunity, predictable movement in that afternoon, evening, and you need to focus more on that instead of the morning time. And with that, that means there's an opportunity, number 4, for overhunting food plots. This is really common. You know, I said if you keep your bedding areas, if you're spooking those out, that's one thing. But if you're spooking out that food source movement, you're not going to have deer. You know, what's the most important component of your sanctuary on private land? Is your food source. Because if you don't have that quality food source, you don't have deer filling those bedding areas or the high quality habitat or plantings of habitat, grasses, shrubs, conifers, whatever it might be. They're not going to be there if you don't have that food source for them to go to. So if you're overhunting that food, meaning we'll hunt our food. We could hunt them days in a row, but we're doing it out of a blind or against a cedar tree off in the distance with a gun. We're not going right in on top of that food source with a bow, all for naught, going in the first time hoping we shoot a deer. Now we might do that the last day of the year, go in there and sit in a little brush pile, because when we spook deer getting out, we don't have to worry. The deer will have long forgotten about that intrusion by the next season. But they're not going to forget about it the next night, 3 nights later, a week later. And if you keep doing it, you're just ruining your property. And yeah, those does and fawns might come back after 5 days a week, but those mature bucks won't. And that's the key. If you're hunting mature bucks during the late season, then you have to be very wary with that food source. If you're hunting does and fawns, go ahead, spook them out, you shoot a couple, they'll be back in 5 days, 7 days, especially if you have a lot of does and fawns in the area. But if you're actually hunting bucks and mature bucks, or they are very, very unforgiving during the late season, and that's why you can't afford to spook out a food source any time of the season. It's critical, let alone during the late season. Property might be devoid for the rest of the year. Number 5, wimping out. What I mean by that is, there's many times where I've thought about going out to a good morning stand and it's 7 degrees. And I know I'm going to have to really bear through the cold, and I'm going to have to plan for it. I'm going to have to wear more clothing, probably get more sweated up going in. I have to really plan to survive the sit. And so there's times where I've looked at it like, man, do I really want to go out and sit? And that's where I'm wimping out. And I don't want you to. We have a lot of videos we've talked about, you know, top 5 pieces of gear to stay warm, how to stay warm in the deer stand. We talk about layering, we talk about using quality clothes, how to protect your head, your hands, your feet, your core. We talk about that in many videos. If you look up how to dress warm in the deer stand, top 5 pieces of gear for staying warm or staying alive in the deer stand or surviving the deer stand. You'll find a lot of my videos up at the top, but it's the same concepts for staying warm. So there's no reason for you not to be warm out there, not to be comfortable. We talk about whether it's using our Arctic Shield boots that we put over our boots and heat packs, heated vests, proper face mask and head coverings, protecting your core and your entire body with quality clothing. There's a lot you can do to stay warm. So there's no excuse for wimping out. You're just going to stay warm. If anything, it's just adding a couple more layers, a little bit more dress time and preparation time. But you can do it, and the whole purpose is the late season is an exceptional time to hunt. Some of my fondest memories as a kid was hunting deer in the thumb area in snow. Also over down in Oakland County, Michigan, and lower Michigan, hunting in the snow. Thumb area, Michigan, I say over the thumb area, it's flat, ag land. Great memories there. Hunting Pontiac Lake Recreation Area in the snow. Had a lot of good times, let alone all the Holly Recreation Area, all the different little public land spots we hunted rabbits in later in the year. But when it comes to snow, late season food sources, finding unpressured cover and late food sources, move to find the deer. You can find them. A lot of times they're herded up. It creates some great opportunity for you, and you can turn these common fails into an incredible amount of opportunity just simply by doing the opposite and having a great December hunt and avoiding these fails this season and beyond. Folks, I want to make sure you check out my web class video series, whether it's how to design your food plot program or how to design your property in general. And we have a new one coming out that'll be how to hunt the rut. But these bucks back here are a testament. Some of these bucks go back to 93. They're even in different states. I urge you to check out those web classes so that you can help yourself, help your land, help your hunt. The link is in the description. And also for those that have tried them out, I encourage you to offer some feedback in the comments below. Thank you.